Steven McCurry is an American photographer for National Geographic. He was at last night's exhibition soccer match between France and Germany at the National Stadium. Steven, thank you so much for joining us. Good morning.
Good morning.
You know, we've heard from so many eyewitnesses, and so many of them have said initially they had no concept of what was going on. They had no awareness. It was just panic. You were on the 50-yard line at that match. Did you have any idea what was happening?
Well, we heard the explosions. We thought it was part of some show. And then we started to leave suddenly. And it was the stampede of people running and screaming. And I thought I was going to die. I thought that my life was going to come to an end because I was getting pushed down to the ground. And eventually I was able to get behind a wall. But it was complete mayhem and chaos.
Steven, you took some photos with your iPhone last night, and I think we're going to look at some of them. You obviously didn't have a very clear idea of what was happening. I mean, what was the crowd saying? What was the, when they heard the explosions and people started moving?
Well, slowly people started getting messages on their phones, and after some minutes people started to leave. And then people started to flood onto the field because they didn't know where to go. I decided to actually leave the stadium, but when we got outside, it was just bedlam and just chaos. And I thought, it reminded me of 9/11. I was down at Ground Zero on that particular day, and it was just people fleeing for their lives. And I saw people getting knocked down. It was just kind of a horrific scene. And it took hours for this area to clear. And there was police and soldiers and ambulances and firemen just all over the area until I got back into Paris.
You mentioned that stampede. How did you actually get out of the stadium with so many people who were just rushing towards the exits?
Well, I went out. I got literally pushed back in because of the stampede. I mean, people were charging around like wild animals. It was just crazy. And then I went back in and I stayed in the stadium for another 2 hours before I was able to leave because there was just no way to get out.
All right, Steven
From where I
McCurry.
was.
Steven McCurry, thank you so much for being with us this morning on what sounded like a horrific scene there at the stadium outside Paris last night.